Hello, everyone. Welcome to our time in meditation together today. And I'm deeply happy to be arriving and continuing our week-long series, well, 2-week-long series of the foundations and basics of meditation. And today we'll be particularly focusing upon techniques to work with thoughts and thinking patterns in the mind. So we've been spending a little bit of time in that category the last few days here, and we'll be really sinking into a wonderful technique for mindfulness of thinking today in our practice. So I want to say hi to a few of us here. It's awesome to see us. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. So I want to say hi to Jennifer and Becky and Barbara and Mary. Mary, a warm welcome to you if it's your first time here on Journey Live with us. We're so happy you're here, and a warm welcome to you. Please let me know if you have any questions at any time or how the meditation practice goes at the end of our class today. And Becky says, "Hi, Amanda. Happy to sit with you today." Becky, thank you so much. I'm deeply happy we have this time as well. I know a lot of us have actually been wanting some earlier meditation times together, so I've been happy to have this opportunity the last couple of weeks to have an earlier practice in the day for many of us in the US or Western Europe. So I'm deeply happy to start to settle in and begin our time in meditation. And we'll be focusing our attention upon the breath, and then also relaxing awareness into the body, scanning the body for a few moments. This helps create a foundation of attention and awareness within. And then from there, we will focus upon a mindfulness of thinking technique, which is actually a technique that can be extremely helpful in the moment, especially if there's a lot of consistent thoughts in the mind. So this will be a technique where not only do we start to see our thoughts as clouds passing through a bright blue sky, but at the end, I'll introduce an additional noting technique, which is a phrase that you can actually say to your mind, which can be really helpful. So I'll be guiding us through the entire time. So let's go ahead and settle in and begin. And just noticing what that means for you today, allowing a sense of balance to start to arise in the body. And as you find your way to your comfortable posture and position, you can start to allow the shoulders to roll back. And even allow the neck to roll side to side. And when we are approaching a posture for our practice, we are tuning into whether we feel like we can commit to this place and this posture and this way of sitting or standing or even walking, if you're walking through the world, for the next few moments and minutes. And so inviting a sense of tallness into the spine. And if it's available for you, placing the phone off to the side and gently closing the eyes. And we'll begin by sharing a few deep breaths together. Gently and fully breathing in through the nose. And releasing this breath out through the nose or the mouth. And again, breathing in. And breathing out. And once more, breathing in. And breathing out. And now starting to follow the breath with your attention in a natural way. So letting the breath settle into its organic, effortless rhythm and cadence as it flows in and out through the body. We'll start by following the full length of the breath. One deep inhale, one deep exhale. And taking it one breath at a time here, relaxing our attention, noticing if the mind is wandering at all or thinking or planning about the day, and for now, gently encouraging it back to the breath. And now starting to place attention upon the breath in the nose and the nostrils. Feeling the sensation of breath as it moves in through the nose, and the sensation of breath as it moves out through the nose. Now expanding your focus from the breath out throughout the entire body now. So gently transitioning attention from breath to body. And we'll gently scan the body, inviting a sense of ease into your facial muscles. Noticing if the shoulders can drop a little bit more. Relaxing the arms and the hands. And bringing attention to the back body and the front body, the middle of the torso, and the abdomen. And as we scan the body, we'll start our first mindfulness of thinking technique. Each time you notice any thoughts beginning or ending in the mind, you can start to view these thoughts as beautiful clouds passing through the bright blue sky. And some clouds of thinking might be rather large and puffy, cumulus in nature. And other clouds of thinking may be more wispy, coming and going, or more broad like fog covering a distance within the sky. And of course, some thoughts may be more like storms. And so noticing your clouds of thinking, noting them for what they are, thoughts crossing through the mind. And then bringing your attention back to the sensation of body. And now placing your awareness in your two sitting bones and your glutes, your pelvic floor, sensing the hips, the sides of your legs, your ankles, and your feet. Placing attention upon the tops and bottoms of your 2 feet. Really allowing attention and awareness to center and ground in this moment and ground in the body. And now gently encouraging your attention to move back upwards in the body. And you can start to relax your attention back within the sensations of your breath and breathing. You can continue to see any thoughts, any mental information that you become aware of as a variation of clouds passing through the landscape of the sky. Remembering that you can always choose to begin again, establish awareness again in your next breath. And for anyone who could use a little extra support in calming a particularly active mind today, in addition to viewing any thoughts as clouds in the sky-like nature of the mind, you can gently note silently in the mind as you become aware of your thinking and seeing these clouds of thinking crossing through the mind. You can silently note, not now thoughts, not now, not now thoughts, not now. And gently bring your attention back to the breath again. I'll give you a few moments to practice this now. And now dropping any technique that you may be practicing with, and gently allowing attention to relax just within the sensation of your breath and breathing. Becoming nice and centered within the body, within the breath, within the moment before you meet the rest of your day. Now taking one nice long deep breath in and releasing this breath out. And from here, starting to encourage some gentle, mindful movement in the body. Wiggling the fingers and the toes, letting the neck roll side to side. When you're ready, gently floating open the eyes. And just moving steadily and softly into this moment, letting your transition from formal practice to meeting the rest of your day. And this way of practicing together too, where we rest our attention in the present moment. Of course, go into any community practice. If you have questions, comments, insights, you can start typing those in right now if you so choose. And of course, if anyone has to run, thank you so much. Thank you for being here, and I hope this practice served you and supported you today. And a couple notes on the mindfulness of thinking techniques that we just went through, which is, for some of us, actually visualizing our thought patterns and our thoughts in the mind can be an extremely helpful technique to use, as the moment we start to see in our mind's eye and in our visualization within the mind, the moment we start to see our thoughts as something that we can tangibly visualize in the mind, that gives us this automatic opportunity to step out of the thoughts themselves. So anytime that we're working with specific mindfulness of thinking techniques, what we're doing is we're creating a little bit of distance each time that we note the thoughts for what they are, whether you simply say thinking, or see your thoughts as a visualization, or even saying a longer phrase like we did at the end. You create a little bit of distance between yourself and the actual event of the thought itself. And over time, this actually helps us disentangle ourselves from the thinking mind itself. And this can be awesomely revolutionary and extremely helpful in gaining focus and concentration in your meditation practice, and also starting to rewire the brain, especially around our patterns of thinking, especially negativity bias that we may have, and our usual ways of reacting to stress. So visualizing can be really helpful for some of us, especially if we are more visual thinkers. Some of us actually see a lot of our thoughts as more like a movie in the mind. Like we start to see this movie-like experience of planning the rest of our day, or thinking about what's already happened over the last few days. And so it can be more of a visual experience as far as thinking. So seeing thoughts as especially clouds passing through the bright blue like sky-like nature of the mind can be extremely helpful. And then that second technique that we went through, which was that noting of encouraging the mind to actually, in a sense, kind of get that, not now thoughts, not now. This isn't the time to be doing what you do. And in a sense, we're noting this to the thinking mind in particular. And you can think of this technique as actually training a small puppy. And the mind, the thinking mind itself, actually behaves a lot like a small puppy that we need to train. And you ask the puppy to come and sit and stay, and then within a few moments, often its attention is diverted into something that it wants, or somewhere it wants to go, or something it wants to try to do. And the mind actually is wonderfully, especially at first, it's the same way. So this gentle, kind noting of actually saying to our thinking mind, not now, not now, not now. Over time, it gives it the gentle encouragement and the idea that, oh, yeah, right, I'm meditating right now. I'm actually focusing attention here in this moment, in the body, in the breath. This is my time that I've carved out for myself during my day to really be here. And these thoughts will, in some way, shape, or form, they will be there at the end of my meditation, or whatever thoughts I'm meant to go into further will be there at some point later in the day after my meditation. So I'm so excited to hear how these techniques went for you. And Becky says, thank you, Amanda. If we are distracted by an area of pain in the body, would you consider that a thought cloud about the pain to watch and say, not now, pain? Thoughts, or how would you not try to be distracted by it? Awesome question, Becky. Thank you for bringing that in. So sensation in the body, I would actually approach differently than thinking in the mind. Why? Because as you are most likely experiencing, the discomfort and the pain in the body is a felt sense. It's a direct experience in the body, where thoughts by nature are much more nebulous. You know, they are a mental phenomena, and so they are, it's a different mechanism that we approach, because they're two different mechanisms in our physiological selves and bodies and minds. Thoughts are moments of cognition and events in the mind, and discomfort and pain in the body is going through the nerve system, the nervous system, and the body pathways. So, how I would suggest working with unpleasantness and pain in the body is actually a resourcing technique that we teach, especially when we're practicing mindfulness of the body, and even practicing a body scan, which is that if you notice, my suggestion is, number one, if you notice an area of discomfort or pain in the body, let's say your shoulder or your back, then the first instruction is to notice the pain. Bring awareness to it. And this can vary for each of us, because sometimes the pain can be so acute that it almost seems like you're picking up like a hot iron that's coming out of the fire, and or whatnot. Or it seems rather impossible to even want to notice and acknowledge the pain, even for like more than a split second, other than like, I'm really uncomfortable right now. However, the instruction is to, even if it's just like a split second or 2 seconds, or even a little bit longer, a few moments or a breath, is to see if you can not only acknowledge the pain, but get like a baseline of the pain. Because the nature of pain actually is that it's in flux. It actually varies, even for those of us who have chronic pain, or perhaps the full body's in pain. The invitation is to notice that the variance, even within the experience of that full body pain itself. And if you have shoulder pain or back pain, for example, you can bring your mindfulness to this experience at first, and actually become curious as possible. Is my pain throbbing today? Is it warm? Is it acute? Is it sharp? Is it pointy? Is it radiating? Is it moving? Is it more globular? Is it more like circular? Is it extending throughout the full arm or the full back? So we can bring our mindfulness, our ability to know and recognize, what's happening one moment to the next. We can bring our mindfulness to the state of unpleasantness and the pain. From there, though, there's a step two, and this is really important, which is that once you're able to gain that little bit of awareness and mindfulness of the unpleasantness, and explore that with curiosity as much as you can, you then resource, which you find a place in the body that is feeling either neutral or pain-free. And the idea here is, especially if you're in a full body experience of pain, and I've worked with a lot of people and students who are in full body chronic pain, then the idea is to find a different aspect of the unpleasantness in the body. So if there's a point that's really highly in pain, then you move to some other area of the body that is in a little less pain. But for most of us who aren't in a full state of chronic pain, the instruction is to notice where in the body is neutral or pain-free. So you may rest your attention in, like, let's say your cheeks or your hands, for example, if you're feeling pain in the shoulders or the back. And you start to explore that area of the body with your mindfulness in the same exact way. What does neutrality feel like? What does less pain feel like? What does being pain-free in this area of the body feel like in a felt sense? So what this does is that actually gives us the perspective and the understanding that just because I have pain in one part of my being and one part of my body doesn't mean my full present moment experience is also comprised of this pain. So we're breaking up the idea. The brain likes to think that I'm having pain in this one part or this one area of my body, mind, nervous system, even emotional pain. Therefore, my full present moment is this pain. So we're really breaking up that conditioning, and also using this resourcing technique, which allows us to rest attention and kind of relax attention in an area of the body that is pain free. So we actually give ourselves an internal break from the experience of pain or unpleasantness itself. So I wouldn't necessarily visualize the pain as clouds passing through the sky, and unless that really works for you. And let me know, Becky. I know we practice together quite consistently throughout the weeks here. So you have such a strong practice that I would really recommend, doing a little bit of experimentation here, and noting what works for you, But that resourcing technique can be really extremely helpful. So thank you for that great question, Becky, and I'm wishing all of us such a great rest of our day. Thank you for being here. Tomorrow we will be working on and focusing on loving compassion, loving kindness and compassion. So we'll be moving into the heart to end our 2-week series on the foundations of meditation. So I'm extremely excited to incorporate these heart practices tomorrow, and thank you all so much for being here. I'm already looking forward to tomorrow's practice. Then have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see some of you in meditation later today or tomorrow or soon.